Hello, everyone. I'm Sylvia Scott, founder and CEO of the Girls C.E.O. Connection. And today I am thrilled to have Anna Brekken, who is the founder of Anna Made Designs. And she also has a company that she started called Soaring Together. So Anna's in Colorado, and we're thrilled to have her today. And she's probably one of the youngest entrepreneurs that we've had in a long time, which I'm excited. She's 15, but she's been an entrepreneur for several years. And it started out when she was, 13, Anna?
12.
12, okay. Started out with when she was 12, thanks to her grandmother. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about, she had moved to a new state and went to a school that discouraged creativity, but her grandmother loved creativity. And her grandmother would show up with handmade greeting cards and brought all the supplies over and got Anna involved in it. And Anna started making them. She had 3 designs she really liked, and she started an Etsy store. And now that's grown to over 150 cards. She's now developing her writing skills because she believes so strongly in creative writing, and she talks about it. And to get teenagers to be writing, she decided, after she met some amazing young entrepreneurs through Etsy and through writing, teaching writing, that she thought she wanted to get everyone together. And that's when she started Soaring Together. And it's a community with resources and encouragement to help other teens reach their business goals. And she hosted Soaring Together 2022, which was an online event in March. And she had over 200 teen attendees, which I think is pretty amazing because I didn't know teens would want to go to an online event. I kept thinking they wouldn't want to, but she got it together. And there were 200 teens and 15 speakers. It was a huge success. So she's on the way to do another one. And besides, because she lives in Colorado, there's so many outdoor activities. She loves to hike and swim, and then discovering new pens and stationery for card making inspiration. At the end, which we will have this written where you can see it, but her email, if you have questions for her, is hello@annamadblog.com. So Anna, it's great to see you.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Sylvia.
So I pretty much said what inspired you to do, your handmade business, but what keeps you going with it?
I have all of these supplies and I have my craft room, and it's just something that is so enjoyable for me. A lot of my new card designs right now, I've made, as you mentioned, 150 cards over those 3 years, but a lot of the designs that I make now are really inspired by people. So I made a birthday card for my grandma, and I'm like, okay, this is the type of card that I can sell with these butterflies and this design. Or I made a card for my friend and it had her birthday on it, and I was like, okay, I can sell a card like this. So that's really what keeps me going with my card designs, is just all the creativity that you can have, the different designs. Like, there's no way that I could ever run out of things to create.
I mean, and that's great. And Etsy's a great place to do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now you started Soaring Together, but where did you learn to organize? I mean, putting together an event like that, where you had 200 teens that signed up, but you had 12 or 15 speakers, all online, and you did it 2 years in a row?
I did.
Okay, you did it 2 years in a row. How have you learned to do all this?
So the first year that I did it in 2021, I had listened to a lot of podcasts about online summits, how other adult business owners hosted their own online summits. And I was like, there's really a gap for teen business owners getting education about how to run a business that's not like very basic stuff, because there are a lot of books you can buy, and I've read them, and they are just like, here's how to start a business, here's how to start a dog walking business, or here's how to start a babysitting business, or even like, here's how to get started on Etsy, but it's very surface level, just getting your shop set up. So this event, we were really tailoring it towards business owners who had already been running their shops or running their websites for a couple years and wanted to learn more strategies like selling wholesale, getting started with Instagram ads, how to really up-level their product photography. So I reached out to probably about 20 teen and adult business owners, and ended up getting 15 people to say yes to be a part of this event.
How did you find the attendees?
So the attendees, I have an email list, and that had about 300 people from my last event that I had run. And when I first ran that event in 2021, I mainly found people through Instagram and then through the speakers. So I had one speaker, her name was Sydney, and she brought in like over 100 teens because she had this really big audience of teen business owners. And then I brought in a couple people, a couple of the other speakers brought in people to sign up for this event. So really how we market it now is I have Soaring Together on Instagram, and that is my main place to find teens to come to the events. And then the speakers also help out by sharing it with their community and their email list.
That's great. That's great. And I think it's great that, you know, so many people think teens got tired of Zoom, you know, online for school, and that they wouldn't go to something like you're doing.
Yeah, this was very different from an online school type of thing. It was 4 different presentations over a period of 4 days. So the teens had the option of which presentations do they want to learn from. I really tried to find people that they looked up to. So people that they would want to go and learn from. And a lot of the teen business owners in my community love learning. So this was something that they got really excited about.
You're involved with Young American Center in Denver. So, and Youth Biz. Now, how did that come about?
This is actually a pretty funny story. So on Etsy, I had just moved to Colorado, and there used to be something called Etsy Local. They don't have it anymore.
Right.
But it was basically this marketplace where you could find different craft shows that other Etsy sellers were selling at. So I looked, and I think his name was Gabe's Bazaar. He doesn't run his business anymore, but he had listed on Etsy that he was selling at this teen craft fair marketplace type of thing at Young Americans. So I looked that up. I went to their marketplace. I sold at it. And then I actually got involved with their Spotlight on Youth Biz Stars competition, which is an amazing community if you are in Colorado, and they match you with a mentor if you win. You get to sell at more of their marketplaces. So that is a community that I am part of in Colorado. And I'm actually going to be speaking at one of their camps this month.
Okay, so you've given 2 TED Talks.
Just one.
Oh, just one? For some reason, I thought I read that you gave 2. When you gave that, it was on creative writing.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone coach you? How did you, I mean, I've watched it, and you're so mature and so together. So did someone coach you? Did they have someone coach you? Or how did that all come up? Well, how did it come about too? It's really hard to get a TED Talk.
I'll tell you all about it, but I'll start at the beginning. And that was when in January of 2022, I was homesick and I had COVID. Nothing too bad, but I was obviously quarantined, not going to school. And I got this email actually from the Young American Center, and they were talking about like, hey, one of our past winners from their competition was organizing this TEDx youth event with TEDx Cherry Creek. So I didn't have anything better to do. So I decided to apply, and creative writing is something that I'm really passionate about and that I really love talking about. So that's really what my application was all about. It took me probably about 3 hours to get the video together, to get all of the information that they ask you about in that application. And then I know some TEDx events, you have to like go in and audition and do your talk for them. There wasn't anything like that at this specific event that I was in. It was just you apply and then they'll choose. I think they had like 17 speakers that were at the event.
And did someone coach you? Did the speaking?
Yes. So we had 3 speaking coaching sessions with someone, and she taught us how to really do our talk, but not in the way where you memorize it, in a way that you know your outline and then you can speak on it extemporaneously. So it's a skill that I really resistant to at first, because I would much rather write something out and memorize it. But she taught us as a group how to get up there and give our talk without having to memorize every single word.
Yes. Well, now you were in Denver Startup Week, and you're going to be in it again.
Yes.
Now, why don't you tell everyone what Denver Startup Week is? Denver Startup Week is one of many startup weeks all over the country. And Denver has one of the largest ones. In fact, it may be the largest startup week, and it's very hard to get in. So Anna got in, and she's going to tell us what happened.
So the first one, I was doing a panel with a couple other people from the Youth Biz program, and we were talking about how we use social media for our own businesses. So then this year I saw that they opened up applications again to apply and speak at Denver Startup Week. And I was like, why don't I do my creative writing thing, but then put a business spin on it, because I love working with teen entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur. So I decided to take that creative writing and the techniques that I use in my product descriptions and on my social media and in the emails that I write, and do a proposal for a Denver Startup Week presentation. So I did that. I think it was in April that we did that. And then I heard a couple weeks ago that I got in, and I don't have a lot of information right now, but I will be speaking at Denver Startup Week 2022.
And it's in September.
It is. Okay.
It's in September. I do know that. Well, I want to know, inquiring minds want to know, with all this that you're doing between your handmade designs and the soaring and the speaking, how do you stay balanced and productive with your family, your friends, school, your social life, and business and everything else? I mean, just how do you stay balanced and productive? Let's hear some tips.
Yes. So it's all about, for me, learning to have priorities and making sure I use Google Calendar a lot. So I know, like, okay, this Sunday and Saturday, I'm going to be doing a sleepover with my friend, or we're going to be hanging out at her pool. So obviously no business meetings then. But during school, when school starts, I really focus on either Soaring or Animade. So when I am preparing for the Soaring event, it's going to be like 80% pitching speakers, designing the website, all of that. But then when the holiday season comes around, I'm going to be focusing on Animate instead of Soaring, making those cards, listing the cards, marketing the cards, sending out the cards, all of the things that go into running a business. So that is really my big thing. It's just, I'm working on usually one of the two businesses, and then I need to make sure I know what priorities come first. And usually it is school, it is my friends, it is my family, it is all of that.
Those are priorities. Those are your first priorities.
Yes.
Okay. When is the next Soaring event?
So I'm not quite sure yet. If I did another one, I might actually try and do it in the summer, because I know a lot of teens have off of school, and that might be an easier way to get more people involved. So I'm not quite sure yet, but I think I will do another Soaring event in 2023.
Okay. Have you taken a public speaking course?
So I know that you were going to ask me this question, and I thought back, I don't think I did. What I really learned was just those TEDx, those 3 sessions that we did is really where I learned how to speak in front of people.
All right.
And it's also just a lot of practice. Like, if you go listen to my first podcast interview that I did, it was just like, you would ask me a question, I'd give you like a 1-sentence answer, and it was not very fun to listen to. But as you do more, it's easier to become like more dynamic, and I get more comfortable talking about my businesses and talking about what I like to do.
Well, you're 15 now, which makes you a sophomore?
Yes.
Okay. Where do you see yourself, aside from school? Where do you see yourself in the next year or 2 years or 3 years?
So my goals for Soaring are really to do more in-person speaking, because I love connecting with people online, but I also really enjoy meeting my business friends that I've met online in person, or speaking at events, or connecting with teen entrepreneurs that way. So that's really my big goal for Soaring. And then for Animade, my handmade greeting card shop, I would love to get my greeting cards into some local Colorado shops so that I can sell wholesale there, and then also expand my Etsy presence to more card designs. Right now I have about 15 on the site, but I'd love to get that up to maybe 20 or 25 if I can figure out inventory and that sort of thing. So those are my 2 main goals. So everything, you can figure it out.
Yeah. So what do you look at? What are you thinking about for college?
I'm not quite sure yet. I don't think I would go to college for business, just because I've learned that you can learn a lot of that online or by experience. But maybe I'd go to college for writing or journalism or public relations, or that sort of like business adjacent type of career, but I'm not quite sure yet.
Okay. Just curious, because you've got so many talents. What advice do you have for any young woman? I pretty much know what you're going to say, but any young woman who wants to start a business in high school as a teenagers, what advice do you have? And would you tell them to hold off or to move forward? What would you tell them?
Well, I think that you know that I'm going to say that you should definitely move forward, even if
Yes.
you do keep it smaller as a high schooler. Starting on Etsy is super easy to get into because they have that whole marketplace. They have customers built into the platform. So even if you don't have a presence on social media, you can start selling on Etsy. So definitely try that, just get into it. And then the second thing I'd say is really find something that you're passionate about creating. So I really love the process of making greeting cards. Maybe for you, that's sewing purses or something in the beauty industry, or you are making jewelry. I've seen a lot of teen business owners do that. So just find a product that you really enjoy making, and that's going to make the whole business process seem more like fun instead of seeming more like work.
And now, a lot of this, like with doing your event, you learned a lot of that by watching other events or going to other webinars.
Yes. Yeah. So I'd gone to probably about 3 or 4 other summits, and I'd seen my mom do summits, not run them, but go to them. And I asked her, like, how did they run this? Or how did they run maybe the all access pass? And I just learned from watching, and then also from Googling or seeing how other people strategize those types of things.
Okay, good. Well, what other advice would you like to tell other teens? I mean, we've had to do a lot of things where people had to pivot, and a lot of adults had to pivot. So, what would you tell other teens that want to go into business, but now that you just this? I think with COVID, we all learned you just don't know what's going to happen. So, what would you tell other teens about the time? Not so much the timing, but how to think about it, because I'm sure you had. Well, you were sick with COVID when you did the TEDx. So, what would you tell other teens about it if there was not so much another pandemic, but well, you never know. You just don't know anymore what it's going to be. So how to look at what's going on in life?
From a business perspective, or more from like a personal perspective?
Well, from business.
Okay. So if you're going to start a business, something that I really talk about in Soaring a lot is knowing your goals. So if your goal is to sell wholesale, you're going to want to make sure that you can cut your price in half and be able to sell it to stores at that price. Or maybe you want to get on a platform like Fair and be able to sell online through that. But if you really want to do more of like bulk orders or custom orders, you're going to want to start building relationships on social media, maybe with people like realtors, and you're going to want to show the work that you want to be creating. So even in like the one industry or business of greeting cards, there's so many different ways that I could go. And it's really easy to get distracted or to be like, oh, I want to do bulk, and I want to do custom, and I want to sell wholesale, and I want to make my own website, and all of these different things. But I would say focus on what are your goals? What do you want to do within the first year? And then every day or every week, make sure you are taking steps that actually get you closer toward that goal.
Wonderful advice. Wonderful. Well, Anna, it looks like it's time for us to go. But I want to thank you so much. And remember, everyone, if you want to get in touch with Anna, her email is hello@annamadeblog.com, which means, and you can read her blog too. I would definitely recommend going to her blog and seeing everything that's on it. And Anna, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really enjoyable.